All right, so you're ready to record your first podcast. Do you have a microphone? Who's going to distribute for you? Do you have a studio? What about the editing? All right, everyone relax because I think I have the answer. Anchor app. Yeah, Anchor. It's free. They distribute Spotify, Apple, many more. There's creation tools that allow you to edit and create your podcast from your phone, your laptop, or your personal computer. And the best thing of all, girl, you can make money no matter how many listeners you have. So the answer is simple. Get Anchor. Anchor FM app. Go find it now. Tell them a seat at the table sent you. I'd like to dedicate this song to my weed guy. And I'm never gonna smoke again. Guilty weed has got no rhythm. Though it's easy to pretend, I know this not an eighth. You should've known better than to cheat a friend. The wasted grams that I could be smoking. But I'm never gonna cop again the way I cop from you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you so much. That goes out to my weed man because you know what? He's been selling me weed that I'm pretty sure is not an eighth. I think he just throws something in a bag, just like Fabulous, just throw it in the bag and just hope for the best. Now, sometimes he's very generous, but most times I'm like, nigga, do I have to bring the fish scale to you? I gotta bring a scale? It's really disheartening to know that you're being cheated out here. What a capitalist society that we live in. I actually think, now hear me out. I think that I could be a really, really, really good weed dealer. I could. I'm thinking Black Friday specials where you could get like OG Kush for half off. Buy a half a pound, get a quarter of something, you know? Listen, all I'm saying is that I'm tired of my weed man cheating me, okay? And if this is happening to you, let me see those hands out there. I'm going to pray for you. Let me see. I see you. I see you in the back. I see you. I see you. You don't have to keep your hand up. Just kind of shoot it up real quick and put it down. I see you. I see you. Welcome to a Seat at the Table podcast where there's always a seat here just for you. I am your hostess with the most, Sis Gail. You can find us on, and yes, us, because this is an interactive experience, okay? Maybe not, is interactive the word that I'm looking for? Any which ways. I need your crowd participation in order to make this shit, you know, I need it to make it jug, you know what I mean? So you can find us on Instagram, a Seat at the Table pod, all one word. You can find me on Twitter at Galanda Adams. That is GAILONDAADAMS. In your face, stupid. Oh my God, how is you doing? First of all, I just had like the weirdest experience. I'm pretty sure that my neighbor just called the cops on me. I'm not sure though, but I'm sure. So last week, one of my fucking neighbors, and let me tell you something, these niggas, what, like, do people even believe in neighbors anymore? Like, is that a thing? Because other than the lady that lives directly next door to me, most of my neighbors I don't really speak to. For the most part, we kind of glare at each other when we see each other. Parking is tight around here, so everybody got a fucking attitude. You know what I'm saying? So last week, Sunday, I'm hopping my fat ass in the goddamn car, and my next door neighbor, who is sick and elderly, she likes to park directly in front of her house. I don't blame her. Everybody does. So her son normally takes the car on a Saturday night, brings it back Sunday afternoon. So everybody respectfully leaves her parking because she's elderly. Well, no, not this other neighbor who, by the way, has a fucking driveway. So this fucking dipshit comes and parks in front of her house. So she comes out elderly and sick as fuck. And she's like, look, sir, my son is on the way home, who is also sick, mind you. My son's on the way home and I'd really like this parking for him. You can park in your driveway or whatever the case is. And this man was like, no, and just walked away. Now, if it were me, and mind you, he was also blocking her driveway. Now, we don't really have real driveways around here. I live in the Bronx. We don't really have unless you have a garage, you really don't normally have an active driveway. However, it is normally a shared drive path between you and your neighbor. So I'm able to park in mine, but she is not able to park in hers. At any rate, he was blocking her driveway. Now, if it was me, bitch, I would have called the cops on his ass and gone ahead and had that car towed. Because, bitch, what you won't do is fuck with me when I'm sick and elderly. However, seeing all of this debacle, I go outside and I'm like, sir, because they're they out there calling each other all kind of bitches and shit. I'm like, all right, well, in the name of Jesus, Christians, can we just go ahead and just decide that we are not going to fight over a parking space? And so I lovingly said to my up the street neighbor, can you please give this hoe back her parking space and don't be nasty? He made me pay it too, bitch. But anyways, I'm parked across the street from his house just now. And the police roll up kind of behind me, but not with their lights on. Kind of just sitting behind me, just looking. So, of course, I know I ain't doing nothing. So, I'm sitting there. I decide that, I'm going to go park in my driveway. So they still sitting there. When I do move, them niggas decide that they good. They gonna leave. And here comes the problematic neighbor. Now, black men, let me ask y'all a question. Why y'all hate us so much? Because that's the other thing. This was a black man looking at a black, sick and elderly woman who is younger than him. And for all intents and purposes, just no level of respect or empathy or anything. He just was kind of pay it. Married. He's married too. So he would want someone to be respectful to his wife, right? Am I bugging? I don't know. It's been that kind of week though. So how are you doing? How you doing? How are you? How's your penis? Oh, great. All right. Is it everything's hanging to the left? Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Can I tell y'all about the most unprofessional fucking interview I had this week? All right. So, never mind me. I'm just having a little smoke so I can tell the story. Set the mood. So, there I am. I'm having a phone interview with a company, right? They'll remain nameless because, well, I don't want to be sued out here. And the HR person proceeds to tell me that, number one, this job ain't worth it. Number two, she was pretty much like, girl, I'm not even going to hold you. I'm trying to move back to New York too. I live in Texas and I'm divorced. I was just floored. Okay. So aside from her telling me her entire life story, which was wild, I thought it was really wild that she would tell me, don't even try to work for this company. They're cheap. And the job is going to be shit. Now, in my mind, I was like, can she do that? But I guess she could because she did. She went on to tell me how, hit her up on Facebook and on LinkedIn because she's planning on moving back to New York. And when she do, she want to look me up or whatever. It was just a lot. You know what? It made me feel like, I don't know if she looked me up on LinkedIn, but I think I'm going to take my picture down. Yeah. I think the picture on LinkedIn is a no-go because I just don't feel like, I don't know, you guys. I still think that we live in a world where, on both sides of the coin, it's not necessarily worth it in a lot of cases for, potential employers to know your race, especially if you are a person of color. I just don't think that works for you, unless perhaps you are, well, I could see in some POC situations how it would benefit you to say, hey, I'm Asian, or hey, I'm Indian, or I'm Middle Eastern, or whatever. I just don't ever see it paying to be black. Is that sad? I don't. Like, I haven't encountered a situation where, other than being amongst other black people, can you guys, let's talk, let's discuss this. Can you tell me when it's ever paid for you to be black? Like, and also, let me just say this. This HR person that I was talking to, she was black. Because she didn't mince words on telling me how she is black and her son is interracial, and just a myriad of unprofessional things. You guys, my mind was fucking blown. But I digress. Has it ever paid for you to be black? Truthfully, if you could share with me one situation where it's ever benefited you to be black, I would love to hear. Like, I would just love to know, because I don't think outside of being amongst other black people that I've ever had a situation where being black behooved me, or it was something that was going to work in my favor. I just don't think that I have. So, which is sad, but, I think that that's why it is necessary for us to create opportunities for one another and not feel shamed about that, not feel shamed for looking out for one another. I oftentimes see cases where, even within the black community, it's very specific about how we look out for each other. It never ceases to amaze me the amount of support that I get from black women and from actually just women of in general, and men, real men, nothing to do with their sexuality, but men who aren't afraid of my success, men who don't think that helping me would somehow put them under, men who aren't, I guess for all intents and purposes, cowarded by the strength of black women, So, yeah, anyways. Prayers going up for the model Slick Woods. Now, if you guys are not familiar, Slick she's very, if you see her, you know her. She is very much, there were special models in the 90s. And Slick kind of embodies one of those to me. There was a model named Omira, and she was of Puerto Rican descent, I believe, or is of Puerto Rican descent, Puerto Rican or some sort of Latino. And she was just a bad bitch, short haircut, rebel. She was in Jay-Z's video Change Clothes, and she's just always been like a badass rock and roll kind of model. And Slick kind of gives me that same vibe. She's got a very distinguishable gap in her front teeth, and she wears a very low haircut. She is the proud mother of a baby boy, Saphir, who is just darling, just precious. So Slick is going through chemotherapy for a bout of melanoma cancer. So we are keeping her lifted up in prayer, because she's really special to the creative community. If you watched the Fenty fashion show, she was featured in that. She was also featured in, I believe, some campaign work for them. And yeah, so prayers up for her. Also, interesting story out of the state of Massachusetts, where a ex-girlfriend or girlfriend, I'm not really sure of the entire details, but a former Boston College student, In Young Yu, 21 years old, she actually was in a texting conversation with, which this is unclear to me, either boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, Alexander Yurtola. And in the